Welcome to Womanhood 101, the essential reader for true biblical feminine identity, Part 2. Part 2 will cover the final 4 stages: the wife stage, the mother stage, the elder stage, and the widow stage. It will also include the conclusion and discussion portion. The wife stage. Make no mistake about it, this is the 4th stage, excluding the womb state. You cannot waltz into this role. You will need absolutely everything you collected in the last 3 stages if you plan to survive this one. If you are unmarried, it is wise not to be enticed into a function you have not been prepared for. If you are already married, then accept that you must give yourself permission to identify those underdeveloped or neglected spaces that were missed in the previous stages. In my experience, wives reported that disharmony or dissatisfaction in their marriages resulted from feeling undervalued. This presented itself in the form of being unheard in communications with their spouses, made to feel replaceable in the marriage, being reduced to their reproductive or sexual service value, loss of confidence regarding the right to raise grievances or a dissenting position, and an erasure of identity and self-worth in the shadow and context of her connubial identity, to name a few. They also report not spending enough or any time developing their own relationship with the Creator or having an identity outside of being the wife of a man they believe to be righteous. Are you a Hebrew wife or just the wife of a Hebrew? The Hebrew wife can run a righteous home, have a righteous husband and family, conduct herself righteously in any given space, and discern when to follow and when to be firm because she has her own feminine biblical identity. In contrast, the wife of a Hebrew is confident only in the identity of her husband, and having no confidence in her own place in the family, she will only defend his. From the beginning, there was an expectation of co-partnering that is often reimagined from the pulpit and reinforced through repetition and rhetoric. The issue lies in understanding the difference between sameness, sometimes called equality, in composition or function, and sameness in purpose and value. There are spaces that are unique to men and should not be interfered with by women, according to the expectations delineated in the Bible. Likewise, there are spaces that belong to the wife that she must have complete influence over without being violated by the husband. The two can and should consult with one another, but ultimately be able to trust the other's capabilities in their spaces. This allows for balance instead of competition. The order to be fruitful and multiply was given to both male and female. The command that the mortal would have dominion over things in the land, air, and sea was given to male and female. However, the expectation to be meet, worthy, fit, suitable, and appropriate was given only to the woman. There is no way for you to function the way Abba designed you to if you don't know anything Helpmeet is not a word. Go check. It's not there. What you will find is a sentence that says that he would make a helpmeet for him. Meet is a separate word, and that's important because it describes what type of help women are. The Hebrew word for help is also extremely significant. Both of these words are explored in the word study for this section. This is not a space of oppression or subjugation. The husband inherited the obligation of affection and accountability, not just authority. However, there is no way to escape being completely absorbed by the husband and function as a meet, help, or asset to a man if you can be blown about by every wind as a result of not studying. This is absolutely the worst place to learn on the job. Deuteronomy 24, verse 5. When a man has taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war or be charged with any business. He shall be free at home 1 year and bring happiness to his wife whom he has taken. The mother stage. Arguably the only identity more sensitive to a woman than wifehood is motherhood. Many women have found they were able to become mothers but not wives in the correct sequence, or not at all. Once they become women in the word, some begin to feel inadequate, anxious, and even ashamed that they have not been able to fulfill this role in the ways that they expected or in the way it was expected of them. If she became a mother outside of marriage, a woman may look to immediately remedy this by going back only one stage, wifehood, and attaching themselves to a man instead of to the first stages of preparation. Others may not have been able to bear a child for a husband or at all. For these women, this reality may trigger feelings of inadequacies in other areas, such as womanhood in addition to wifehood. While motherhood is connected with giving birth, it is also connected to guidance, nurturing, protection, and developing trust with someone who depends on them. Many women have served as mothers to our nation without being recognized in this function or realizing it themselves. Those who develop properly in the previous stages themselves have a lot to give younger women. She is called Ima, the Hebrew word for mother, by not just children, but by other women who trust and respect her. The lessons associated with this stage recall the strength and sacrifice of various mothers noted in our scrolls. This study teaches you to appreciate the responsibility, pain, and sacrifice of motherhood. All of the scriptures that constantly recall the agony and relief of a woman in travail gain meaning to you. Your motherhood stage is your first opportunity to understand accountability. The mother, as the first teacher, has the distinction of shaping the minds and morals of a generation. Motherhood carries a need for accountability that cannot be compromised. It is here that a woman truly learns what it means to give and protect life, even when the conditions are difficult. Genesis 27:13. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. The elder stage. Among biblical Israelites, the elder is one who has been blessed with old age, not necessarily one who is a leader in the community, although it's common to address teachers and others who may be learned in biblical scholarship as an elder. This would not have been the case in Hebrew culture. Elder is a stage of life, not a title. Instead, it may be more appropriate to refer to other women that you respect as elder or older sister, or even Ima. Elders, in terms of our ancient ones, are given special regard. Even if we don't always agree with them, we cannot treat our aging parents and neighbors disrespectfully. It is often to our disadvantage to dismiss them when they speak, because they are a living record of times and events that sometimes hold important lessons. How many times have we found ourselves reflecting on something our elders said, which made no sense at the time, and thought they were right once life caught up with us? The age for an elder is typically understood at 50 years or older. This is based on the age temple priests were no longer required to work. See Numbers 8, verse 25. Once we have entered into this stage, we have a responsibility to prepare the generation who will take over the work. Young people learn best by example. Deuteronomy 32, verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he shall show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. The widow stage. Women can find themselves widowed for any number of reasons, and in just as many ways. The death of a spouse can come at any age, so although we tend to think of widows as very old women, this isn't always the case. In Hebraic culture, marriage was primarily patrilocal. What this means is that women usually left their natal homes to build their nuptial homes among their husband's family, where their children can live among their father's relatives. For the woman, marriage represented a dependency on the husband and his family that could prove devastating if she was left without any heirs. If her husband was very wealthy, there was the possibility that his siblings or kinsmen would inherit his possessions if he had no offspring to claim it. For this reason, the widow was protected by laws that obligated her husband's family to give her another husband and an opportunity to bear children. We also find that the widow was included among the poor, the sojourner, and the orphaned when the community offered their material support. What we learn from this stage is the importance of community in times of loss. Exodus 22, verses 22 through 24. You shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you afflict them in any way, and they cry at all to me, I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath will become hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall become widows, and your children fatherless. Conclusion. Although it's hard to hear the women are out of order, the reality is that many of us are. Until we stop accepting things out of sequence, we will always be out of order because we're taking on roles that we were never properly prepared for. It is true that we don't have the luxury of having been born into a Hebraic culture like our ancestors, but they didn't have the convenience of an indexed book with everything laid out for them either. We don't have to wait 7 years for the word to be read to us. As you continue to grow and study, you will find that our records described Israel in nearly all of the ways discussed in this booklet. Israel is the daughter, the sister, the woman, the wife, the mother, and arguably even the elder. Pretty cool, huh? If you take nothing else from this lesson, take the words my daddy gave to me with you. You will never be nobody because you will always be the daughter of the Most High. Discussion. The discussion portion of the book is a list of questions. These questions are meant to be answered in your own time and at your own pace on a sheet of paper. You can pause the recording as I read them to you. There are a total of 8 steps. Can you name them? Which of the states or stages do you feel the most confident about? Why? Which of the states or stages did you experience the most challenges? How does the womb phase help prepare for the subsequent stages? What is the most crucial lesson taught in the daughter stage that is built upon in the following stages? Which stage corresponds to peer relationships and study? In your opinion or experience, what is the most difficult task to master in the womanhood stage? What do you believe women struggle with the most as wives? What do you think makes a good mother? What types of struggles can you think of that a widow may experience? What honor or respect do you believe are due to elders? What responsibilities do you believe they have? On a separate sheet of paper, what does the womb phase mean to you? Explain. What does the daughter stage mean to you? Give an example. What does the sister stage mean to you? Give an example. What does the woman stage mean to you? Give an example. What does the wife stage mean to you? Give an example. What does the mother stage mean to you? Give an example. What does the widow stage mean to you? Give an example. What does the elder stage mean to you? Give an example. This questionnaire is also available online by going to https://goo.gl/forms/ppx QMP SLT 8LV B34A3. Don't worry, I'll also include that link in the description box. Special opportunity. This booklet is being made into a full-length reader. If you have enjoyed this study and have questions about any of the stages that you would like to see answered in the published version, please send your questions to the.soferet@gmail.com. That's spelled THESOFERET@gmail.com. You may ask as many questions as you like about as many of the stages as you want. Womanhood 101 will also be offered as a course at the Soul Center. Registration for Womanhood 101 is scheduled for the fall of 2018. Sessions include personal access to me for each stage. The Soul Center is accessible online at www.thesoulcenter.com. Many classes are already available. If you can't wait for more, the abridged or shorter version of the full text reader will be available in the spring of 2018 and gives a first look at the official reader's format, which includes every section in this booklet, plus the real-world application, Bible study, and word study associated with each stage. The release date for the full text reader will be announced next summer. The first publication for 2018 is a collaborative work by the Under the Palm Hebrew Women Speak panel, Faith to Faith, Confessions of a Counterfeit Bride. Subscribe to Lit Balm for updates and notifications for these books and all of the upcoming individual projects written by Emuna Yisrael, Hulda Dawid, Malaka Phillips, and Only Love Austin. Acknowledgements. Before all, I attribute all honor and glory to the Holy One of creation. I am grateful to all of the women whom He has put in my path to offer support and encouragement, too many to name. I give special thanks to Sadaika Kasadaba, who was the first to share her platform with me on social media, and Emuna Yisrael, who took me out of the trenches, my comfort zone, and my own head, and face to face with the people. Many behind the scenes conversations with both of these women at different times helped me to flesh out and develop the studies I have come across, adding their own insight and discoveries along the way. I am also indebted to all of the sisters that have come to me with questions. They are evidence that one truly learns through teaching. And Mariah Kasharan, who was candid enough to tell me that refusal to teach the people was not humble, it was irresponsible. Finally, my thanks to my sister Aisha, who is a talented model and photographer, for permission to use the picture found on the cover of Womanhood 101. And my cousins Adrian, Quanti, and Miriam, who have never wavered in their support and encouragement as I pursued my studies. About Womanhood 101. In addition to being one of the core programs of my ministry, G2M Inc., it is also an online course at the Soul Center. Open registration for Womanhood 101 is scheduled for fall 2018. but there are other courses by Emuna Yisrael currently available. Some other G2M Inc. core programs include 1. The 8 stages of biblical womanhood taught separately. 2. The stages taught an overview and why they are a critical first step. 3. Womanhood at work in the scriptures, getting to know our ancestresses. 4. What Torah really says about Eve and other Edenic messages to women. The creation concepts of rule, help, build, curse, meet, and more. 5. What Torah says about covenant marriage, what it is and what it isn't. 6. The facts about biblical polygyny and cross-cultural realities. A look at true statistics, intra-female jealousy, nature, modernity, and more. If you would like to arrange for me to speak at your next function, please send your request to the.sofaret@gmail.com for availabilities and fees. Works cited in this sample, just the Bible and a lot of hard-earned lessons.